Hey guys, it's Anime Ball Z here, and today we're going to be doing the third part of what if Goku could control his Oozaru form. I'm sorry for not uploading last week, but I spent a lot of that free time scripting for the videos in the near future. There's nothing much else I want to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Goku in the 5 years doesn't really train like in canon and still has Gohan in the time. Goku's power level only raises about 20 or so to 510, Piccolo's power level is raised to about 450. He really wants to get as strong as Goku and kill him, and this motivation pushes him much further than in canon. Raditz arrives and already begins to cause trouble. Raditz arrives at the Kame house and Goku's quick to stand off against him. "Who are you?" Goku says in confusion. Raditz says, "Brother, how could you say such a thing? What are you wearing?" Goku says, "It's just my gi, you aren't my brother." Raditz chuckles and says, "Did you hit your head or something, Kakarot?" Goku says, "My name isn't Kakarot or whatever, it's Goku." Raditz then begins to explain the mission that he was sent on to complete. He also claims that he is a Saiyan. 510, such a weak power level, Kakarot. He reaches in and grabs Gohan, who was standing beside his father. Goku instinctively reaches in for him but misses and falls to his knees. The swift movement causes a breeze that moves Raditz's long hair. "If I don't see 100 humans dead in a day, your son is dead." He flies off into the distance and Goku just flies after him. Raditz turns and says, "Be gone!" He kicks him in his face and throws Gohan up. He says, "Double Sunday!" Goku's hit by the attack head on and falls into the water below. A good bunch of water vapor steams up from the hot and energetic blast. Raditz grabs a falling Gohan and beams off into the distance. Goku, tired from his use of flying and injured from the blast, is struggling to even swim back to Kame House. He does manage to get there and his friends are quick to rush to his aid. He punches the ground below and it cracks. He says, "I have to find him. If I do, I can win." Piccolo, solitarily standing from a distance, says, "I can help you with that. This person is too strong for each of us." Goku looks up and is surprised to see him. He stands and says, "Fine, let's go." Piccolo nods and they quickly make their exit. They arrive at the scene and Raditz says, "You actually came. Well, let's see how long you last against me." Goku says, "It's time to finish you off." His eyes flash yellow, then his muscles buff up. He roars into the sky as his tail waggles violently. Raditz notices his rising power level and becomes cautious. 900, 1000, how has he doubled his power level in mere seconds? He looks down with no pupils in his eyes and grows to an inhuman size. His body coats in a thick fur and his face begins to grow a snout. He grows into his full Oozaru size and eventually completes his frightening transformation. He lowly snarls once he glances at Raditz, who is extremely surprised and just shocked. The Oozaru form at will alone, his power level surpasses 5000 now. He roars at him then punches him right in the face. Raditz rolls across the ground, then Goku launches a mouth beam at him. Raditz is slammed into the floor and his armor shatters on impact. Goku leaps forward slightly then slams Raditz extremely hard with a stomp. The ground surrounding them trembles and caves in from the enormous impact force. Raditz is heavily injured by the attack and Piccolo is stunned. Raditz, with his last words, says, "More will come, and they will finish you off. 6 months and they'll be here." He dies after those slow mumbled words. Goku starts reverting back into his normal form and says, "You think I forgot how to do that?" Piccolo scoffs and says, "Whatever." He flies away and Goku rushes to Gohan. Gohan is elated to see his father through the red pain and Goku just breaks it with a punch. He pulls Gohan out and says, "It's okay, I'm here." Gohan jumps into his arms and they soar away into the distance. Goku takes the chance to train in the next 6 months. After Raditz said these people could beat him, even after seeing his Oozaru form, he decides to train up everybody. Piccolo trains with Goku and is training extremely hard since he knows how strong Goku is compared to him. Goku also has a serious leg up since his species is literally made for battle and for growing stronger. Gohan has been training also and has been showing glimpses of his monstrous power. Tien, Krillin, Yamcha and Chiaotzu are all training together as well. They kind of split into 2 groups because their power differences are so vast. Gohan isn't that strong yet, but he shows a lot of potential, so for him to get stronger, he should be fighting with the big dogs and not the people like Tien and Krillin. They will make him stronger, yes, but they're basically just throwing him in the deep end, if that makes sense. Since Gohan has been training with the 2 big dogs, he has gained masses of power. His muscle mass is definitely much more, and something keen happens on the 5th full moon. Against Goku's stern advice, he stares at the moon at night. His eyes go red as he stares at the glistening moonlight. His body enlarges and his snarl wakes Goku up. Goku blurs into his room then pulls him out forcefully. He rushes outside and throws him out of the house. He says, "Gohan, control it!" Gohan roars at the ground and wakes Chi-Chi up as he does this. The wind through the darkness makes Gohan's long hair flow violently. He stands and reveals his new height at about 3 meters. He grows and grows until he reaches the full size of the Oozaru. He bangs his chest violently and Goku says, "Stop!" Gohan doesn't comply and goes in to punch Goku. He flies out of the way and dodges the hit. While midair, he says, "Control it, son. There's still human inside of you." Gohan swings again but then grabs his head and roars at the ground. Due to Goku's natural potential for control of the form and his human side, he stops completely. Now, a new power can soon be his. He stands and mumbles his words. "Father?" Goku smiles and he says, Good, Gohan." He looks at his hands and sees his massive size. He shakes his hands and clenches them. Unluckily, he can't just transform back and is stuck in his form due to the moonlight. He just practices his technique with his newfound power. Under the harsh wind, he accumulates his ki and forms a Masenko on his head. He launches the beam into the air and it's extremely strong. It has amazing strength and is very, very fast. The night soon comes to an end and he returns to his normal size. After this, he continues his training and Goku has caught a glimpse of something extraordinary. While sparring Piccolo, something happens. He launches a one-hand energy wave that Piccolo spins past in flight. He zooms next to the energy wave and punches him in the face. Goku is held up but he launches down several ki blasts. Piccolo diverts past many then tanks one of the blasts head on. He follows by flying up and their forearms clash. Their punches then clash again and Piccolo dodges a swing. He kicks him back then launches a close-up ki blast. Goku falls back then uppercuts Piccolo upwards. He reaches out and grasps his wrist before swivel throwing him down. He soars downward and punches him further down. Piccolo somehow lands gracefully and Goku lands in front of him. He smirks and says, "Don't think I've been going 100%, Goku." Goku chuckles and says, "Of course, you seemed a little weaker." Piccolo's aura rages and blasts around him. He rushes towards Goku and slams into his ribs. Goku falls back several meters and just about dodges an incoming attack. He kicks Piccolo in the side but is punched back and slammed into the floor. Since when did he get so strong? He asks himself quietly. However, as he resists Piccolo's force, his eyes glow golden. He grabs his wrist and his hair becomes more shaggy and unkempt. He throws Piccolo up with new power and flies up towards him. He knees him further up into the air then launches a ki blast. The ki blast has a bright green colour to it and that same colour envelops his aura. It hits Piccolo and greatly injures him. He falls past Goku as he returns to normal. He dives down and catches Piccolo before landing. Piccolo says, "What was that? Are you hiding even more power?" Goku looks at his glowing green aura fade and says, "I don't know what that was. I did feel really strong though." Gohan says, "Hey, I want to have a go." Goku says, "Alright, let's see what you can do, son." He smiles and says, "I don't think we should fight in this form, maybe take it up a notch?" Goku nods and says, "Of course." Gohan's pupils burst and his muscles enlarge greatly, so do Goku's. They both transform into their respective Oozaru forms and stare down each other, father versus son. Goku says in his dark and growling voice, "You've already got control?" Gohan says, "Must be my human side." Gohan makes his stance with his furry massive hands and Gohan does the same. They then rush at each other and clash, releasing a massive outburst of wind, ki and sound. Goku uppercuts Gohan then punches him away powerfully. Gohan stumbles back but launches a mouth blast. Goku blocks it and is hit in his gut. He coughs blood but grabs Gohan's head and headbutts him. He lands a 3-piece combo that slightly disorientates Gohan. He raises one palm and launches a glowing yellow blast. Gohan knocks it away and it crumbles a rock pile on impact. Gohan runs at Goku and leaps towards him with his powerful legs. Goku dodges the punch and kicks him in his gut. He grabs his arm and throws him over his shoulder. His back slams into the floor, then Goku launches a close-up ki blast. Gohan taps out and says, "Why did you hit me so hard?" Goku chuckles and they both revert to their normal forms and put their clothes back on as they return to their normal sized bodies. Goku says, "You're getting there, son. We all are." Piccolo scoffs and says, "Whatever." Goku says, "Your base power is actually getting close to mine. You have great technique too." Piccolo says, "Yeah, well, you just get stronger when you get injured." Lucky Saiyan. Goku laughs awkwardly and says, "Yeah." Another month passes and the group are ready. During this month, the two training teams combine and boost their powers further. Chiatsu has the lowest power level at a much higher 1200. Yamcha's is next at 1800. Krillin's is at 2100 while Tien slightly beats Krillin at 2200. As you can see, they've made major improvements. Gohan's power level has skyrocketed to a whopping 3500 and Piccolo's is at 4100. Goku's is at 4120 20, making Piccolo and him almost equal. Goku, using his Oozaru form, has a power level of 41,200, which is insane to think about. Nappa and Vegeta eventually arrive for the Dragon Balls. The Z Fighters are quick to face them. As they think they're trash, Vegeta unleashes the Cybermen. They grow in the ground below and reveal themselves. Piccolo smirks and destroys one with a simple ki blast. Vegeta chuckles and says, better than expected. Gohan steps forward and Nappa laughs loudly. Don't get too hurt, kiddo. Gohan stays silent and calm. His aura flows and he flies towards one Cyberman. He destroys it with a simple punch to the head, then zooms to the next one. He goes one by one, destroying the Cybermen until they've all been subdued. He stands against Nappa and Vegeta takes a step back. He lifts off of his feet and says, fight as you wish, Nappa. Nappa laughs menacingly and says, yes sir. His aura rages and whips around him. Gohan roars as he charges his ki up, then he flies at him. He throws a punch that surprisingly injures Nappa. In a fit of rage, he is punched up into the air. Nappa then launches a ki blast up there. Gohan swivels out of the way, then hurls down a Masenko. It hits Nappa head on and injures his hands. They steam from the heat and burn. Gohan takes no time to approach him again and land another hit. Nappa slides back about a meter but hits him across the jaw. He is kneed in his gut, then kicked away. Goku steps forward as he sees him struggling, but Piccolo stops him. Let him have his fun. Gohan spits blood beside him and makes his stance in preparation for his next attack. Gohan bangs his chest and pumps himself up. He takes out the thing tying his hair up and lets it flow. His surprisingly large muscles are shown on his arms. Nappa obviously isn't fazed though by his burly figure. Gohan zooms at him and kicks him in his head, however he is grabbed and slammed into the ground. Nappa punches him further into the cracked ground, but this enrages Gohan. Goku smirks from a distance and Vegeta notices his rising power level. 3,800, 4,100, but back to 4,000? Why does it fluctuate so much? Gohan's aura then bursts outwards and makes Nappa step back. Gohan stands and says, it's over. His power level raises to 4,400 out of rage and he beams towards his opponent. Nappa smiles and makes his stance, revealing his harsh aura too. So that will conclude the third part of what if Goku could control his Oozaru form. Several parts in the future have already been scripted, so I'm going to keep this weekly uploading thing for as long as I can. I really appreciated you guys wanting me to come back to this what if, and I've really had fun continuing on. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.